I'd like to welcome you to a beautiful day at Carousel Farm. It's a beautiful day, so I think we should begin. The tools we will be using for the in-focus exercises is a lunge rope, a beach ball, a small arena, and which we don't have right now, but any other different obstacles or things such as a saddle pad or an umbrella or a trash bag that you may want to introduce to your horse later on. With the in-focus exercises, I'd like to talk a little bit about first impressions and how a horse is a flight animal. Because a horse is a flight animal, what it means is that whenever they're afraid of something, they don't really think about what they're afraid. They just run because they were meant to be out in the wild. So whenever something's coming at them or a prey or something like that, they run, they go run away from it. And because we know that horses are flight animals, they remember things and they don't think about what they're afraid of. So once they see something that is scary, they remember it and they respond quickly, and this is how they protect themselves. The two skills we need to discuss before handling horses is whip handling and body language. So let's get started. When communicating with a horse that is young or does not know much, it's very important that you understand and know what you're communicating through body language and your whip. And right away, they will figure out whether you are a friend or an enemy. It's very important to know what you're communicating with your horse because you only get one first impression. And you want them to instantly think they're a friend, I'm okay around them, which is why it's so important because you only get one chance. So it's important to be good at handling a whip and understanding how your body movement is affecting your horse. So we're going to start with use of a lunge whip. I'd like to talk about use of a lunge whip. The use of a lunge whip is simply an extension of my hand. Rarely will you see me crack the whip or hit the horse with the whip. Taji horsemanship is all about progressive levels of communication. I only add as much as I need, and if I need more, then I add more, only if I need it. The handler should be very good with their lunge whip and never have to take focus off the horse. They should also always know when the whip is engaged and disengaged. You should practice with your whip before handling your horse because having good whip handling skills is going to be key for focusing on your horse. So I'm going to demonstrate 4 whip handling exercises that you can use to get good with your whip. So let's get started. So let me run through real quick and tell you what those exercises are. The drop exercise, the catch it exercise, the smiley exercise, and the here exercise. So let's get started. Exercise number 1. Drop it. Drop the lash. Pick it up. So what we do is we simply hold the handle with our whip directly straight, release the lash with the 2 fingers, and catch it. Drop it. Pick it up. This is really good to practice because so many times we have our whips out and we're using them and our lash is dropped and suddenly our horse comes to the center, we got to pick up our whip and we got to be able to grab that lash right away so that our lash isn't swinging around, whacking them in the face, communicating something that we really don't want them to want to communicate. So once again, drop, pick it up. Drop, pick it up. And you should be able to do it to the front, to the side, and to the other side. And to the back. So you want to make sure that you can do all 3 of those directions. That's whip exercise number 1. The second exercise is to put your whip out in front of you, holding the end of the lash with the handle on the ground. And then you simply raise your arm and catch the whip. This is just a good exercise. You get to know the weight of the whip. It's very fun. You can do it behind your back and all sorts of things. So once again, whip handle out in front of you, hold the end of the lash, pick it up and catch. One more time. Pick it up and catch. So, moving on to whip exercise number 3. The smiley face. Smiley face is dropping your lash and starting right in the middle and adding pressure and releasing pressure. Adding pressure and releasing pressure. Now what the smiley face is used for is for when your horse is going around the track and say you need to ask them to move forward, maybe add some energy, we will add pressure and release pressure. Now this is where the smiley face is very handy because you can add pressure to this point and then release. Or say your horse needs a little more pressure, we can add pressure to this point and then release. That's why the smiley face is so important because you have adding the pressure, releasing the pressure. Very, very important. And you can the bigger the smiley, the more pressure you're adding. The smaller the smiley, the less pressure. So that is exercise number 3. Now we're going to talk about exercise number 4, the here exercise. The object of this exercise is to get the beach ball to the bottom of your feet, using your body language, which we are going to talk about later in this DVD, and your whip. So you want to get about this far away from your beach ball. Use your whip with the lash dropped, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get this beach ball to come towards me using my body language and releasing pressure. That's the goal in this exercise, is to use my body language, step back with my whip to get the beach ball to come to me and go to the bottom of my feet. Let's do this 1 or 2 more times. This is about a good distance away from the beach ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread my hands and step back in order to get the beach ball to come towards me. And the goal of this exercise is to use this whip in a way that the ball comes towards you and not going away, does not go away from you. To apply, as you see, this is a beach ball. The beach ball is a little heavier object, so I have to use a little more pressure in my whip to get it to come towards me. To apply this to a horse, I may use a little bit less pressure because it's not as a heavy object, a little more sensitive. But I use this to make sure that I'm adding the right amount of pressure and the right amount in the places I need to in order to get that beach ball to come towards me. Basically like this. What I don't want is the ball to go off to the side or go away from me like that. That is what I do not want because I want my horse to come towards me. You don't want the beach ball to come towards you by going over it, meaning hitting it like that. You want to be sure you're coming around the beach ball and bringing it to you. Because as you know, if you hit a horse over the head, they are obviously going to run away and say, I don't want to be near that person. So the way you do not want to hit the beach ball or your horse is like that. Even though the beach ball may come towards you, your horse is not going to come towards you when you do that. So now let me show you the proper way to do the exercise again. Now, because I know I'm going to be doing this with a horse, I know my movement pattern and my aids might be a little softer, so it might look something like this. And the reason we call this exercise here is because I will use as a verbal when I ask them to come to me here. So as an end result, when I am with my horse, it should look something like this. Here. That should be the end result with your horse. Become good with handling your whip before you handle your whip around your horse.